Chapter 1: The Office Visit. I couldn't believe I was back in his office. After 7 long years, the blinds were drawn, as they had been before, creating a cocoon-like feel. Was it comforting or frightening? Maybe a little of both. The big leather sofa along the back wall was gone, so I sat down in what I assumed was my seat, an oversized walnut-colored leather chair with an ottoman. I scanned the walls for the pencil sketch. Good, it's not here. During my session a decade ago, I would stare at the sketch from my spot on the sofa and wonder what that girl's story was, if she'd found healing here and where she was now. Was I as sick as that poor girl had looked in the drawing? Had I made a mistake in returning? Surely I wasn't that bad off. Or maybe I was in denial? The girl in the sketch had looked so sad and so broken, haunted almost. But by what? I still remembered the doctor's words the day he caught me studying it. She is very damaged. In fact, she has over 100 distinct personalities. Really? Yes. She had horrible things done to her. Things too awful to repeat. Things involving ritual abuse and, well, things I won't burden you with, he'd said. He glanced over at the drawing and seemed to take a second to honor her. Anyway, where were we? Shuddering at the memory, I welcomed the secretary's sweet drawl drifting through the doorway. "You know, he is completely booked up right now," she said. Guilt. I had just waltzed in here without so much as a phone call. A friend of mine had an appointment she didn't need and offered it to me. Maybe he took me because I'd been here before, so technically I wasn't a new patient, but still. I inhaled deeply. The girl in the sketch was probably better now. To my left, bookshelves lined the entire wall. The hundreds of books suggested an intellectual type. And as if it had the first time, the thought put me a little more at ease. I'm in good hands. He knows what he's doing. A random assortment of trinkets and mementos were scattered amongst the books, offering little bursts of color against the sterile browns and grays. Collected from his travels, or maybe gifts he had received from clients he had worked with over the years. Probably the latter. Everyone in the community seemed to love him. My friends raved about him. And I enjoyed thinking that some of his clients were so special to him that he remembered them with a small display on his shelf. It was sweet. I looked behind me. The black and white photo of the doctor playing tennis was still there. I scanned the room for family photos, but again, didn't find any. The office screamed scholarly, sentimental, and quirky, just like I had remembered him. Quirky was an understatement. Lining the top of the bookshelves, in stark contrast to the masculine space, sat a collection of china teacups and saucers. That was different for a man. But then he was probably close to his mother or grandmother and displayed the collection in honor of one of them. Again, kind of sweet. My gaze bounced along the rims of the various teacups. I halted at a plain altimeter? That's odd, but that was him, a little different. But different in a good way. I released a huff of air. "Amy, stop worrying," the inner critic shouted. I flopped my head back against the chair, letting it do its job of supporting me, even if just for a minute or two. I wasn't keen on letting anyone or anything support me. But I was so tired. I needed to do something different. "You need to let someone in," the critic lectured. "I know," I replied with a sigh. "I'm here, aren't I?" I noted a rolling desk chair across from the ottoman, the doctor's seat. I imagined the stories we would exchange. I bet he'd heard it all, having been in practice for 36 years. In front of his chair sat a large wooden desk that served little purpose except to display a glass bowl filled with peppermint candies and a notepad and pen. Geez, what is taking him so long? "Amy, don't complain. He took you in like a stray." Yeah, that was nice of him. After my friend offered me her appointment, she drove me here, whispered to the doctor that I needed the appointment more than she did, and bam! I was sitting in his office, ready to be dissected. I pulled my knees to my chest, placing my sneakers on the edge of my chair. "Amy!" "Fine." I put my feet back on the floor.